All right. Greetings. Welcome. Welcome back to Blackburn News, where everything is connected. How you doing? It's Monday morning. Ready to start this week with some more insanity. Yeah, over the weekend, I don't know. You you ate some more kale, and you're alive to tell the tale. Joseph, very good. Um, YouTube is killing you off, Osama. In what way? Are they striking you, demonetizing you? I don't know. YouTube is a strange place. I would have to concur, but it's what we got. And Rumble doesn't seem to be much better. It seems like for bigger brands, bigger podcasters like Jimmy Dore, Russell Brand, et cetera, et cetera. You can just read off a list of names. People with bigger profiles and bigger followings and maybe that have like exclusive deals with Rumble, it might be better for them. But for people that are just using the platform, as a retail consumer, Rumble is real crap. It's real hard. Well, first of all, they charge you. You have to pay money to live stream unless you have a certain amount of followers. I think that's how it works. And then it's real hard to get paid, and your views, it's hard to get viewers. It's just, I don't know. I probably should, and I did not. And this is a failure on my part. Extra Bulla told me that there's a way to automatically post things. I can just post my streams after they're done to Rumble. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll just post my old streams to Rumble, or the streams after they're done to Rumble. Seems like the big ones are controlled opposition. Deline Pearl, yeah, it seems more and more each day. On some level, I don't think that all of them are. I really don't believe that about Jimmy Dore. I think that he has, I guess, a certain level of success that he's trying to protect. In some ways. But I don't know. I mean, I just came to the treading lightly. Exactly. I came. Man, I am a very, on some levels, I'm a little bit of a. I take things at face value a lot of times, and a lot of times I will trust certain things. I mean, most of the time I reserve judgment. Until further information is revealed. But a lot of times I just trust things to be what they are. I guess at a certain level, it turns into gullibility, right? But it's hard, You can't. You go down roads. You try to find information in places. And especially on the internet, that can be a dicey proposition. So you go where you think you're getting some information, right? And you have to have a certain level of trust or faith that somebody is giving you, right? That somebody is authentic, that they're giving you real and good information. And the thing is yes, the unstoppable, sure. Says you don't have to be cognizant of the fact that you're being used as controlled opposition to, in fact, be controlled opposition. Of course, sure. Yes. Yes. I mean, I kind of view everything with a little more skepticism these days. As time goes forward. and sometimes with a lot of skepticism, more skepticism than belief. But there are a lot. I don't know. Without getting too deep into a story, there are several things that I kind of study. There's a lot of sources of information on YouTube and everywhere on the internet, and I have certain things that I spend time working on, studying, whatever. No, outside of climate change is one of them, but there are several. There's news stories. There's all kinds of things that one can engage in learning about on the internet. So over the past few years, there have been several things that I've been kind of deeply into doing deep dives on. And a lot of times those things turn out, a year or two later, you realize, oh, there was some good information in there. There was also a lot of misinformation in there, or there were a lot of, nefarious, the other motives involved in the information, the giving of the information, and whatever. You get what you get out of it, and then you move on. And you can say the same with news and people that are giving you news and information, right? Those, it's you're not everything. I think to look at everything, to it's like Trump derangement syndrome or whatever it is. If you don't like somebody and you believe that everything that they say is a lie, that's probably wrong, right? There's probably some truth and some lies, and some of the things are true and correct. So you can take what you want from it. You can take the true things from it and leave the rest, behind. And I think that's just a good way to approach pretty much everything. But if somebody does have nefarious intentions or are controlled and are paid actors or grifters or whatever it might be, then you really gotta protect yourself from, you really have to protect yourself from being hurt by those people, right? Because they can hurt you. If somebody has ulterior motives, it can end up coming back to bite you. So, anyways, ramble. Or rumble. I don't know. Ace Butcher, what's up? Ace Butcher is in the Rockfin chats, and the crowd goes wild. Wow. Nice. Alts are leaving their supporters behind. Gene Whitworth says, Jimmy does that thing also where he insists on each creator having their content behind a paywall. Really? He insists? Well, he has some content behind a paywall, yes. And then he puts out clips. I don't know. Jimmy's model isn't so bad. The live streams are free, and then once the live streams are over, he takes them down, puts them behind a paywall, and then he puts out clips of the live streams. I don't know. It's not really that crazy. Yeah, I don't like that he's going to Rumble after or off Rockfin. Yeah, Jimmy Dore is doing that. And Lee Camp is doing it too? Really? Yeah, that's a little weird to me because you're trying to drive all your traffic to Rumble, which, Rumble is a very likely honeypot, right? Or Rumble is a very likely Um, it's not necessarily, Rumble is owned by, partly owned by Peter Thiel, and there are a lot of signals around Rumble that it's not necessarily the free speech platform that that it's all chalked up, and they do censor people just like Twitter. Free speech, free speech. Oh, whoops, we censored some people. We censored some folks. Anyways, I don't like that. You're right, Gene. I don't like that. Joseph Wood. Kevin, if you had $1 million in the bank, would you still do your show with the same platform? Yeah, I absolutely would. Um, Absolutely would. It would be way easier to do it if I had $1 million in the bank. I do the show because I enjoy doing this show. Um, Actually, what makes it difficult to do the show is not having any money. Right now, at the moment, I don't have any money, and it's harder to do the show. Um, like I would like to spend more time on the show. I'd actually like to do longer shows, if I could. And I would like to spend more time producing this show. I don't have a lot of time, and that's mainly because I'm doing a bunch of other things that I'm scrambling. I'm scrambling to pay the bills and make the rent and do the things, and so it's hard. That's it. I'm not trying to play a little tiny violin for you, but it's real. That's real. And y'all support me with your eyeballs, and I appreciate that. You really do, and you support me with your eyeballs, and you support me in a lot of ways, and just being here, I appreciate it. Um, hold on, hold on, hold on, people. Hang on, Sloopy. Yeah. So, anyways, it's hard to know. Hard to know really what's going on. Did you guys hear about the? This whole thing with Texas is wild, and Ryan Christian has already done a pretty kind of deep dive into the kind of several people I think have done some dives into the fakeness of this whole thing that's happening at the border. Um, I've been kind of watching it over the past month or couple months, kind of slowly boil up a little, and that's why I've been talking about it lately, because I've just been kind of seeing more of the chatter around it and going, and kind of wondering like what's going on there. What's going on there? I don't know. There's several. It always seems to be an election year hot button. The whole border thing seems to always be this huge kind of political football that people love to. But I was noticing, just right kind of this weekend, I noticed all of a sudden that all this stuff was happening around it. People were going down to the border, and we're gonna help Governor Abbott close the border, and I was like, whoa. And then I saw something about Trump encouraging governors to send national. I was like, what the hell is going? I mean, that is for someone who has been accused of inciting insurrectionist like motives or insurrectionists, giving insurrectionists inspiration or whatever you want to call it. Um, Brown's gas is a scam, is it? Anyways, what I was going to say is, so I saw this whole thing like going on with the border, and then when it got just really weird with the whole with Trump saying that people should get in there, and I think some people have rightly called this out as some kind of psyop that it is. I mean, because what have we heard? What have we heard from a lot of alternative media over the last year or so? Actually, a couple of years, which is interesting. There's been this. Narrative that the 2024 election will be canceled. That something major is gonna happen. Some kind of martial law is gonna be imposed. There won't be an election this year. Which I don't. I hope that doesn't happen. Like, because that would mean that things are going very badly, right? But as I was watching this unfold, I was kind of like, yeah, this seems like something that the powers that be have been pushing, this like Civil War idea. It seems like just a straight up, just a straightforward attempt to gin up, some serious divisions in the country, or serious like panic mode in the country, or serious like, oh my God, is this a play, or is this the beginnings of a play to try and, like create some very heavy unrest? And then with Trump jumping in and saying something about it, I mean, to me that was just it seemed like a hat tip, seemed like a tell to me that, like, oh, something else is going on here. Deline says, I just left the rally of the beginning of one of the convoys that are heading to the border. He just made a stop in Emporia, Virginia to pick people and cars up. Wow. I mean, it is a real thing that's happening. It's definitely like happening, and I'm like, wow, this is happening. What's happening, you might ask? I mean, there was a Supreme Court injunction on Governor Abbott about, tearing down the razor wire and stuff. Let's see. Let's get a quick news overview. But I'm just giving you the synopsis anyways. And then, there were threats that the Border Patrol was going to arrest Texas National Guardsmen, or at least move them off the border. There was going to be a real confrontation. And, I mean, it's kind of wild. That's kind of wild, really wild talk, all of a sudden, that there's going to be like border patrol people against the Texas Guard, right? Deline says they'll be in Jacksonville, Florida by midnight tonight. Well, they'll be in Texas by tomorrow then. It's not that, well, maybe tomorrow or tomorrow night. It's not that far. Hold on. Let me remember how long it takes to drive from Jacksonville to Texas. Is it a couple days? Probably a couple days. So maybe I'm wrong. Sorry. If they're going to be in Jacksonville by tonight, they can be in Texas by Wednesday. I don't know. It's not that far though. What is it? 6 hours from New Orleans to Texas. and 6 or 8 hours from Jacksonville to New Orleans. Is that right? Something like that. It's not that far. So maybe they will be there. Maybe they will be there by tomorrow. I guess that's right. Sorry, I'm having a difficult time doing the time math. Anyways, fight over border intensifies as Texas governor pledges more razor wire. Okay. So look, I'm just reporting for, people also out there who are just like, why are you talking about this? Look, I'm just reporting on something that's happening. It's happening. This is the thing that's happening. Maybe it's, sure, it could be all theater, but this theater is something that could boil over into your life. And, if you don't pay attention, whatever it is that you think is inconsequential, if you don't pay attention to it, could actually boil over and affect your life. So it's probably a good idea to at least keep, one eye on something that, something like this that's going on. I know how people love to just dismiss things. Oh, that's poppycock. Maybe don't. Maybe don't, especially when it's this weird. Anyways, this fight over the border intensifies, blah, blah, blah. On Monday, the Supreme Court voted 5-4 in favor of the federal government's power to remove the controversial concertina wire installed along stretches of the border in Texas at Abbott's direction. Despite this, Abbott, a hard right Republican, is intensifying his plans to try and fence off parts of the U.S. border with Mexico. Federal agents were given further confirmation this week at the Supreme Court that they may remove the razor wire as the enforcement of immigration laws under federal jurisdiction. Abbott argued there's nothing preventing him from ordering the Texas National Guard to continue laying more razor wire down. National Guard is ultimately part of the U.S. military, overseen by the U.S. President as Commander-in-Chief, but except in specific situations where the President explicitly takes federal control, the National Guard in each state takes orders from its state governor. Anyways, that's one thing that's going on. Let's see. Got a whole bunch of stuff here. Or a few things. So this is some things going on that they're covering on the news. So hold on, Johnny, I see you. Just give me a second. 700,000 vehicles and truckers estimated on Fox News that 700,000 patriots have mobilized in order to take back their country. Okay.
Virginia Beach that are going to go through Texas, Arizona, California. On the website, it describes the event as a peaceful assembly, encouraging all freedom-loving and law-abiding Americans to attend. I saw that you posted on X to raise awareness about that. You obviously just mentioned it a moment ago. I understand that you're going to be speaking once they get to Eagle Pass. I also see that it's going to go through Yuma. It's going to go San Ysidro, California as well. 700,000 vehicles. That's the prediction here. How do you keep that, peaceful and on track? That's a lot of trucks.
Well, the people that have organized this are the same people that went from California to D.C. with the truckers. I understand we're going to be joined by Canadian truckers. So these people are committed to a peaceful demonstration that we've had enough. The American people have had enough. We're demanding that the Biden administration do its job, enforce the laws on the books, and secure our border. 8 million people during the Biden administration. That's more than the population of Ohio. This is the time for us to rise up as the American people and demand that our president do his job. This should be a peaceful movement of the American people, joined by other nations if they want to come. This is the Canadian farmers, truckers. This is the German farmers. This is the French farmers. This is the Dutch farmers. This is a movement well beyond the United States that people are simply tired of the overreach of their federal governments, and we're pushing back. Now is the time.
Okay, so yeah, they're trying to relate it to what's happening in Germany and I mean, on some levels, it could be that. On some levels, maybe people have been waiting for Americans to do something about anything, other than sit around and and bitch about it. Deline says there are no trucks in the convoy that left Virginia. Okay. I mean, it's 700,000 is a dreamed up number. It sounds like a lot, right? That's just crazy. Yeah, it seems like this is being fueled, obviously, by the media, that they're kind of doing a lot of helping to ramp up. This is kind of, I mean, this is the kind of stuff I was seeing like earlier this weekend. Red states back Texas against Biden administration. Trump calls on states to send National Guard to Texas. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announced that he was prepared to send troops to Texas. What the hell? I think the Oklahoma governor said. The Oklahoma governor said they were going to send the National Guard. I mean, this is fairly wild, like pretty wild. Like, what are they going to? Seriously, you're going to send troops to Texas, and what's going to happen? Are you talking about like an open confrontation with like a military confrontation with them? I mean, this is just it's fairly insane. And Trump called on states. So Trump said, "Go ahead." Like that is. Could be seen as treasonous. I mean, that has some serious legal implications, right? For him to actually just come out and say they should send the National Guard. Like, what the hell? That's an open confrontation with and Trump is urging it on. That, I mean, that's just bizarre to me. And it doesn't, it seems weird to me. Like, if this just de-escalates and people just ignore the fact that Trump called on, I mean, because that actually has legal implications. If he's actually urging states to send their National Guard to have an open confrontation with the federal government, that's definitely something that you should definitely not do. If you are running for president, it has legal implications. I don't know. It's just, this is, anyways, it's a wild story. It's a wild story. And I am thinking that it is more of a concocted one than it is a real one. But they certainly have people, all riled up about it. They certainly have people like, oh, yeah, let's go. Okay, hold on, Johnny. I'll take a call here. I know it's already late in the show. Somehow I need to do a longer show. Johnny, how you doing?
Believe your name is Kevin, right?
Yes.
Okay, I can barely hear you, Kevin. Let me see. Raise up my volume here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can barely hear you.
I'm sorry.
I don't hear you very well.
I don't know.
Okay, so let me tell you what. Let me hang up and try to call again because it's really important.
Okay.
I want to have a dialogue with you. So let me hang up and try to call again. Okay.
All right. Oh yeah.
Here we go.
Yep. What's up? How you doing, Johnny? Oh, now I can't hear you. Anyways, I can't hear you, Johnny.
Okay, how about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Great, I can hear you. Great, great. Okay, so all right. So you talked about a couple of things. Number one, you didn't have much time to do those things that you really wanted to do. Focus on your show, and you know, you also talked about how important it was that people pay attention, and you also talked a little bit about how it was that you're kind of, you know, the way something big is happening, and some people said that it's all planned, it's all sort of like a psyop operation, you know. So I
Sure.
wanted to address all that. Also,
Okay.
you talked about truck drivers. So I wanted to talk about a couple of things. First of all, um, it's, yeah, what did you say? What did Abbott say? He said that you people, the president has overstepped their boundaries. What was it? The federal government has overstepped their reach, right? That was Abbott who said that,
Sure.
right? So this is what I find interesting. Um, most of the people, I think, most of the people are not really seeing the bigger picture. And when Abbott says on TV that the federal government has overstepped its boundaries, he's actually promoting the current neoliberal ideology, which says that they want to shrink the government. So where people are standing up trying to fight back, they're not actually they don't realize that they're actually undermining their own position for free and freedom and allowing corporations to do whatever they want with society, create a free market society where, you know, you don't really have the freedom. So in other words, the rentier classes. I try to really have a hard time articulating my thoughts, so I'm going to try my real, because it's really important. It's really important, I think, that you and your listeners, you know, get this perspective, because I think this perspective is being lost. So the idea is that every time somebody says the government is in the way, or the government in a negative way, in a negative manner, they're actually feeding into the very dissolution of the federal government. But at the same time, the dichotomy and the problem is that we do as a society, as a people, have to fight back against this neoliberal ideology that says the free market reigns. And there's nothing left for the public purpose.
Right.
All,
Sure.
you know, right? So we have to fight back. So how do we fight back? Well, one way I know to fight back, I personally, I'm a truck driver. That's what I do for a living, right?
Okay.
And I know that truck drivers getting together and stopping work is a very powerful thing.
Sure.
So what Canada did wrong, and what the truckers are doing wrong when they go to Texas, is not recognizing that their power is misplaced.
Well,
and it's focused on the wrong thing.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, listen, Johnny, I don't have a lot of time. I do need to move on to some other things.
Yeah,
I just wanted to take a couple of thoughts from you. But here's the thing.
Of course. What?
I actually think, yeah, it's a powerful thing, like what they're doing in France, what they're doing in Germany, and you could agree or disagree with the reason why they're doing it. You know, I like, you know, I liked everything you said so far, and the thing is, what I actually supported what the truckers did in Canada. I thought that what they were protesting was legitimate and valid. I don't know about this one. This seems to be a redirection of energy in the, you know what I mean, like in the wrong, totally wrong direction. You know, it would be great if truckers could like band together and shut everything down for, like, you know, healthcare for all, Medicare for all, or, you know, or I don't know, so many different other. You may not even agree with that, but there are so many other things that we could be fighting for. You know, they could band together and shut everything down around corruption, or, you know, so many things. But everybody's gonna get together around stopping people from entering the country. I mean, I suppose it's legitimate to some people, but this seems like, and pitting them against, having it be a situation where they're going to supposedly pit people against, the federal government regarding how they're handling this. This is a weird one to me, but I could be wrong. Other people could find this totally, legitimate. Like, oh, this is so important. But I don't know.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and that there is actually a movement out there. I'm part of that movement. Somebody gave it to me and told me, you call it whatever you want, just make sure that you include 4 things, right? And those 4 things is know what you're fighting, know the best alternative, know the first step, and then know the power that you have to do it. And
sure.
So the thing is that it's very difficult. It's very difficult to do this because you have this cynicism, this cynical mindset, and then you have ignorance, pure ignorance of not really understanding what has happened to us over the last 40 years. And
right.
In my opinion, unless you understand what you're actually fighting against,
right,
you won't go anywhere. You won't get anywhere.
I totally agree.
So
I totally agree, man.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Absolutely. Like encased in this like border thing is like people being mad that nobody's getting any, but our services are being cut. Inflation's going up. Minimum wage is stagnant. Like there are other things underpinning people's anger around this issue, but this issue isn't. It's become like, well, we can't have all these people coming in and destabilizing our country. But who's really destabilizing our country? Like who's the and they could rightly say, well, the federal government is doing this on purpose. They're destabilizing the country, which is part of the argument. But there are so many other things that the government is doing to destabilize people and their lives and their livelihood. We could be addressing these things, but somehow this is become the issue. I don't. G Dummer says waiting for the universal health care stop corruption convoy. Yes, me too. Anyways, whatever. Well, I'm gonna play this real quick. I'll leave it at that because it really sucks that I'm only have about an hour to do this show because I'd like to do kind of deeper looks at things. But anyways, here is someone who lives in Texas telling you that this thing is completely overblown. And we'll see if we can get some.
What's going on, guys? I know y'all come to my page because of the comedy, and I just play around on here. And I don't get political very often. Sometimes I have some things to say about things. I live in Texas. I was just in Eagle Pass, and I've got some videos I need to show you guys. Because you're watching the news, whether it's CNN or Fox, you're letting these news media idiots get you riled up against each other. Let me show you some videos that might just calm your ass down and make you turn off the TV. Watch this. All right, so this is the wall, the fence that we put up. And they put up a secondary fence because they opened the gates. There's some armed guards with some pretty serious weaponry. Pretty intimidating, right? Here's your razor wire in between the 2 bridges that are in the entrances into Mexico and also the entrance to Eagle Pass. There's some Hummers, some more guys, right? We're protecting, we're keeping them out. This is 0.5 miles from that area. 0.5 miles from where they set up their cameras. 0.5 miles from where they have all the people there. And it's right down the road. I left this long to show you just how short of a drive it is for us to get to a point where all that we just saw does not matter. and they're just getting you riled up against each other because it's election time. And right about here is where you're going to see it. What's that? Where are the armed guards? Where are the AR-15s? Where's the razor wire? Where's the gates? That's half a mile from where the media is blowing up that Texas versus the feds, that we're having this big battle. So that was one gate. That was the very first.
Okay. I got a shorter version of this. Anyways, he keeps driving down the road. And the gates are just like wide open, which is, I guess you could be upset about it. That's upsetting to you. But the gates are wide open. It doesn't look like anybody's coming through, right? It's like, gates are wide open, which is one thing. Doesn't look like anybody's coming through currently in any of those gates, but whatever. But yeah, they have this big like showdown thing going on. It's like in this one area where you have all the cameras and everything. The other thing that makes me really set off the whole like psyop. One more thing, and then I'm gonna move on. It took me this whole show to talk about this, almost, but I'm gonna try and move on and cover some other things because I didn't want it to be all about this. But I do hope that, people can kind of like do a cooler heads approach to this and not get all like wrapped up in this. It's too late. People are already wrapped up in it, but I've been watching these weird videos pop up on Twitter like about people military age fighting men are coming across the border, and I was like, all right, well that could be concerning. Sure, it could be concerning, but could somebody be generating this, generating a fear, right, by pumping these videos out about how all these military age fighting men from other countries are coming to take you over, right? It seems pretty I don't know, it seems a little scripted. This seems really scripted. Did y'all see this one? This guy?
Soon you're gonna know who I am. Yes, by the way, if you are smart enough, you will know who I am. But you are really not smart enough to know who I am. But soon you're gonna know who I am. Very easy.
Wow, very easy. The entitlement.
No, believe me, I'm much better than that.
The entitlement, guys. Wow.
You'll see soon. Yes, by the way, if you are smart enough, you will know who.
So this guy was, I guess, identified as some kind of like Muslim like terror leader, right? So everybody was like, "Oh my God, this guy is coming across the border and saying, soon you will know who I am." Like, oh my God, this seems like Osama bin Laden, part 18, take 18, right? This guy is sneaking across the border. There's, terrorists loose in our country. They're here to do us harm. They're just coming across this wide open border. I mean, come on, man. Come on. That was just a little like, they have a sign at the open gate asking immigrants not to cross there. Yeah, there you go. Anyways, this is just weird. This is just weird to me. When I saw this one, I was like, really? Okay. Soon you'll know who I am. I mean, come on, man. This actor / CIA asset, guy who runs a terrorist cell somewhere in the Middle East, but he's crossing the border and talking to there's a cameraman there. Who are you? Just happens to be there. Who are you? Soon you don't know who I am. Come on, man. Anyways, So it's all of these videos that I've been seeing kind of creep out and get pushed out over the last few months now seem to be coming together, for a lot of people, and for me as well. It's like look how absolutely scripted this is. He needs to twirl his mess. Yeah, totally fake, completely fake, ridiculous. Drew text. He did make a good point. You're right. The caller did make several good points. Gene Whitworth says the whole border battle is just that, a distraction from Gaza. Possibly. It probably has several intentions, right? There are probably several things behind it. Sure, it's a distraction. Look, there's another balloon, of course. Sure, there's a distraction. It's a distraction, but I mean, this whole you have people literally all over Twitter going, "Civil war. There's gonna be a civil war." We're like, what? Really? There's gonna be really? Trump is calling for people to send their what? I was like, what? That's just wild to me. That part right there is wild to me, because if you don't, if I don't know, if you didn't think that this thing was high level theatrics before, I mean, you have somebody who is supposed to be the mustache twisting villain, right, for the last 6 years, right, 8 years. He's been the bad guy, right? Trump, right, who supposedly incited people to insurrection, January 6th, blah blah blah. He's got these court cases, and he has these, but he's running for president, and he's leading, and he's everybody's favorite hero / martyr. And you have Jamie Dimon coming out and saying, well, we should listen to the people that follow Trump. Maybe he's, maybe some of his things are good. And in the middle of that, he comes out and urges other states to send their National Guard to Texas. That's just insane to me. That's just insane. That just doesn't even, because that just doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? Why would you do that if you were how would you think that you would get away with that for real? So that's just ramping. That's just I told you a few years ago. They're trying to get Trump, back in the race to get him to be president again, so they could just ramp up the whole hysteria, panic. Oh my God, this guy he's a crazy man. He's dividing the countries. He's leading us into civil war, right? This whole So I like what this other guy had to say about don't fall for that. Don't fall for that. Just don't fall for that. Hopefully enough people can get out there and talk about how insane this whole thing is, and maybe we shouldn't, get super involved in it emotionally right now. Maybe we should just sit back and go, okay, I don't think that's the answer to that. Maybe that's not the answer to that. Maybe this is all scripted and concocted in order to get people to lose their minds. Maybe don't lose your mind over it. William, I want to take your call, man, but I just give me a second, okay? Man, there's a lot of climate change stuff to talk about too. It's already so late in the show, though. I don't even know. Everybody was talking about Sabine's video, and maybe I'll bring it back and talk about it tomorrow. I did want to play some of it, but I probably don't have time today. I know that a lot of you saw Sabine's video. I wasn't worried about climate change, but now I am. I mean, there's good information in there. I want to bring it back tomorrow so we can talk, dissect it in a little more of a thorough way. I don't want to really just skim over it. But I just want to let y'all know I did see it. I did watch it. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was interesting on several levels. Quickly though, I mean, you know, you all know I talk about climate change every day. I'm just covering some other stories today. I did want to say, there is another story about Michael Mann saying that, it's irresponsible to say that we're at 1.5. Okay, whatever, Michael Mann. There's a lot to talk about. I do want to say, Lou, thank you, Lou. Lou, longtime listener, sent me this gigantic bag of coffee, like organic Nicaraguan French toast, French roast. Thank you, Lou, for the coffee. A very kind gesture of support, because I love the coffee. He says, "Hi, Kevin. Thanks for your continued reporting on the ongoing climate catastrophe. I'd recommend spending some time with the YouTube channel Debunk the Funk. Science and data. Careful not to let the trolls trigger you and take up your airtime." I've seen the Debunk the Funk. You've got much better stuff to talk about and information to share. Take care in the new year. Enjoy the coffee. All right. Thanks, Lou. I got it. Thank you so much. Very much appreciated. Yeah. Michael Mann is quoted in CNN and says it's irresponsible to claim that the 1.5 degree climate goal is dead when the world can avoid crossing this threshold. And people are just like, all right, we're kind of already there. We've talked about this, though. There's that. Fleur Ali, you're right. Biden is trying to save his butt by this border thing. He better save Gazans, give some money to the UNWRA. Right. They have defunded. So Israel claimed that the UN, some UNs were helping Hamas. And so the U.S. and several European countries defunded the UNWRA, or stopped funding them, as a retaliation for the whole genocide trial. What else happened? Nancy Pelosi, said that anybody who is against Israel is a Russian is a Russian asset. I mean, the defunding of the UNWRA is very very heavy, right? Though, because they're what meager aid is going to the Gazans is now being chopped, right? And being chopped for what? I mean, it's like punishing the victim, punishing the victim. Finding a way to blame the victim so that you can abuse them more. If you want to know the level of evil that the U.S. and the Western Bloc countries are engaged in, we don't like that you called us out. We don't like that you accused us of the thing that we're doing. So we're gonna find a way to abuse you some more. How about that? Yeah. But Pelosi saying it's Russian, like Russian disinfo, is just the highest level of pure, unadulterated 1984 level insanity. Like what the ever loving. Denver says, fun fact, UNWRA is the largest employer in Gaza, if not Palestine. So by defunding them, they just cut the legs off of any aid efforts. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Sorry, we're genociding you, but we're going to have to take away your aid because you accuse us of, because somebody else accused us of genocide, and we don't like that we were found guilty, and so we're just going to, you'll be suffering for that. Sorry for your luck. Anyways, all right, I'm going to spend about 10 or 15 minutes on Rockfin, okay, guys? So YouTubers, let's move over to Rockfin. Again, as I said, I would love to spend more time on the show. It's very difficult, but the show does need all the support that it can get. And I appreciate the support that I do get. I do get so much support from you guys, especially just having you hang out with me every single day. I really appreciate it. But if you want to support the show, because I do bring it to you for free 99 every day, here are the ways: buymeacoffee.com/BlackBearNews, Cash App at Red Llama Music, Venmo at Kevin Sandblum, PayPal.me/Kevin Sandblum, or for Zelle, Kevin Sandblum at ProtonMail.com. And all these are in the description box. You can find them below. Patreon also. Yeah, I really liked, a lot of what Sabine had to say. There are some other things too I just didn't get to cover today, so I'll come back tomorrow and we'll try and look a little more closely at that. All right, so to YouTubers, see you tomorrow at 9. And we're going to move to Rockfin for just a moment.